Hey everyone, welcome back to Grow Roots. This is Shannon and here is my April 2024 front garden tour. Okay, so here we are. Today is actually April 1st. I could not wait to film my April 2024 front garden tour because so much has changed since my March garden tour, as expected, in the month of April. And I wanted to just show you guys. I may end up doing another garden tour at the end of April because I believe so much will change even at the end of April. We may do 2 April garden tours. We'll see how it goes. But here we go. I'm going to start off over here with what we see here. Here is one of my favorite parts of the front garden, and it is my 3-tier planter. A lot of people have these like weird square planters, especially here in Providence Village, and they don't know what to do with them. If you're looking for something to do, find some type of vertical planter or vertical interest to add to this space, because I really do feel like it really enhances the curb appeal, and I absolutely love what I've chosen for this. So I'm going to just start right down here, and this is something new. Last year I had mums planted here. They got very large, and whatever was planted in the bottom here just did not thrive because it could not get sun. The mums were crowding it out. So I took the mums out. I do love them. They are perennial here. However, they overgrew the space. So I took them out and I added variegated liriope. They will have purple blooms, but I believe those blooms will be more towards late summer, early fall. And so we will look forward to that. But right now they offer just this really nice texture and variegated foliage. If you can see, it's just, they're really going strong. And actually, I've popped in 2 little bluebonnet plants that I bought from Callaway's for $1.99, and I've got my first bluebonnet bloom. They are in bloom all over the state of Texas right now. It is just the most marvelous time of year for Texas. We love our bluebonnets, and so I wanted to add some low cost, $1.99 each. This one hasn't bloomed for me yet, but it's doing pretty well. But the stars of the show right now is this 3-tier planter, and what I have planted in it is a mixture. We've got going on a color scheme of peaches and oranges and yellows and light pinks, or I guess you could call it like a kind of a coral pink color. There you go. And I absolutely love what I've put in. So the top tier here is Proven Winners Peachy Keen. So what you're seeing here is an older bloom, and so it's like a lighter peachy color when it's older. What you're seeing right here is a newer bloom, and it comes out this like beautiful orangish, corally-ish color, and it's just absolutely beautiful. We've got a bunch of them coming up here. I've got 2 Peachy Keen planted up here, and they are doing really, really well. I did do a video. I'll post the link just in the upper right corner, so you can click on that and watch it. But this has been maybe 2 or 3 weeks since I planted it, and they've already just really, really grown since I planted them. They're doing really, really well. Speaking of doing really, really well, down here I have Proven Winners Supertunia Persimmon. I absolutely love this plant. I love this coral color anyway. It's one of my favorite colors, and with the little yellow center in there. I had 1 Supertunia Persimmon last year, and it was in this 2nd tier, and it just totally, it overtook everything until about mid-July. And yes, we're gonna get really, really, really hot for petunias, even the Supertunias, which are supposed to be heat tolerant, a little bit drought tolerant. We're gonna get pretty hot for them, and I do kind of expect it to fizzle out in late July. But until then, I'm going to enjoy them. I absolutely love them. And I love the combination with this, which is Supertunia Super Bells Yellow. And when you watch my video of when I planted these, I actually was slightly disappointed. The Super Bells Yellow that I picked up from Home Depot, they were just not looking the best. They were a little bit scraggly. They looked like they were struggling a little bit, but as soon as I planted them in this container, they started thriving. So that makes me really happy. This planter is basically, this is all new cocoa liners, all new potting soil, and that potting soil is mixed half and half with compost. So they're really loving life right now, and I have 2 Supertunia persimmon, one right there, and 2 Supertunia Superbells, I'm sorry, not Supertunia, 2 Superbells yellow. And right here, they're even starting to they're intermixing with each other already. So right now is the time that I could go ahead and just kind of put these Superbells and petunias so that they look like they're mingling with each other. See that? And that way they're kind of growing into each other, and that's kind of the look that I would like. And then down here I have the Super Bina Peachy Keen. Wow, can you see that? I absolutely have fallen in love with this from the first time I saw it. I've wanted it and I found it. And I bought it, and I'm so glad that I did, because I really love like just the color changing effect. When they come out, they're this dark orange color. When they fade, they're this peachy color, and it's just absolutely beautiful. But I've mixed them with the Superbells yellow down here. So there are 2 Supertunia Peachy Keens and 2 Superbells yellow. You may notice this Super Bina Peachy Keen is not blooming right now. It could be that it doesn't get as much sun. You could see it's a little darker back here, and that may affect the blooms on these, but it is blooming. It has tons of blooms that are coming up, so we will get some blooms, so that's pretty exciting. While I am down here, I did want to show you, I have this is a Confederate Star Jasmine vine that you can see. The vine is pretty much died off, but I'm leaving it here for a specific reason. I've got a new jasmine vine coming up here and a couple more over there, and it is going to crawl up the existing vine that is now just dead. But I've got an espalier going on up here, and it's basically fishing line and these little eye hooks that I've put to make a diamond pattern, and I'm really excited. This year I'm hoping to just have vines go all the way up to the top, and the jasmine vine may not get that accomplished because, well, it's starting from the ground, but this is too. But I'm gonna try Morning Glory. This is a Morning Glory blue pickety that I grew from seed, and on the other side over there I have, yes, that is Black-Eyed Susan vine, and you see it blowing around right back there. It is a seedling as well, and it is a Black-Eyed Susan vine that is like a yellow-orange color. So I'm really trying out a lot of different types of annual vines this year, because I really would love to see my entrance. Here, I'll show you. I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm hoping those will grow all the way up there, all the way up, and I'm hoping they'll start climbing over. And then over here, I'm just going to show you this part real quick. I have a planter here with some pink impatiens, because this is shade, but I've also got another Black-Eyed Susan vine and another blue pickety Morning Glory, and I'm hoping that those will grow up. Once they start growing, I'll kind of stake them and train them up somehow on this side. I may make another espalier over there if they succeed. I'm not going to go through the trouble of making that another espalier if they're not going to succeed, but I'm really hoping that those will climb all the way up there and all the way over, and that I'm just going to have a whole entranceway kind of framed with those vines right there. That's my vision. I hope that it happens. It may not, and I realize that error, right? Every year is trial and error. We'll just do what we can do. But for right now, I do still just absolutely love the way the entrance looks as is, and I'm happy whether it happens or not. Since I'm over here, I may as well show y'all what is in my pots. I have right here 2 Supertunia bubblegum, and over here is my standard limelight hydrangea that The standard part means that it's shaped into a tree form, and this guy I've had since he was a little baby, and I have trained it to come all the way up, and then it comes out as if in a tree. And so it's really doing well so far, and I just can't wait until this one will bloom. But this one probably won't bloom until early summer, I'm thinking. I'm pretty sure that's about the time. So we've got a ways to wait. But in the meantime, that's beautiful. And then I've got some pansies that are still left over from the season. And then these tulip bulbs. I'm just waiting. I'm going to actually try to harvest my tulip bulbs and save them. And I'll do a whole video about that, about how you can do that. But you can save them and store them and then put them in the refrigerator to use for next year. This is here in the South. If you're in the North, you do not have to do this. They will come back for you every year. But for us, we don't have that luxury. So we have to go through a lot of effort, unless we just want to treat them as annuals and throw them away. But I don't really want to do that. I do think I am going to try to save these tulip guys. But for right now, I'm letting the leaves absorb all of the sunlight and energy that they can to put back into the bulb. And then I will pull them up and store them. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to come back over there to my lovelies in a moment, but for now I'm going to show you what is in this front garden because I am so excited about it. I am just so thrilled with how this garden looks already in the 1st of April that I just can't believe it. I can't wait until it gets even better. But this is really beautiful. I would love it if it stayed this way the entire season, but it won't. Gardens are ever changing, right? And that's kind of a good thing. So first we've got our goose I got for free on Facebook Marketplace. I finally figured out a name for her, and her name is Silly. Do you get it? I'm going to give you a moment. Silly goose. Okay. But anyway, let's start with the front border. All right, so this was my vision this year, was mixing supertunias with superbenas or verbena. And what I originally had wanted to do was Supertunia Vista Jazzberry, which I did find, and that is what you see right here, these pink colors. That's all Supertunia Jazzberry. And I wanted to mix that with Supertunia Imperial Blue, or is it Cobalt? I forget. One of them is the old name, one of them is the new name this year. But I really wanted to find that Superbena, I'm sorry, did I say Supertunia? Superbena Cobalt or Imperial Blue, and I could not find it. So next best thing was at Callaway's, and it's these beautiful verbenas. Now some of them are coming out of flower, and that's okay. Like this, I could probably just snap that off because it is out of flower now. Hold on, I can't stand that. Okay, but if you look at these other blooms, they come off a little bit different on film than they do in person, but this middle part is a very dark purple color. I know it looks a little bit pinkish purplish, but it's a very dark purple color, and then it's white on the inside and purple on the outside of the leaves. I just absolutely love it, and these have done pretty well. I planted these, I do have a film on that. I'll pop that in the upper right hand corner if you want to watch how I planted my front border, but that was about 3 weeks ago, I want to say, and they are starting to spread. They are starting to fill out. They are still blooming really well, so that tells me that they're doing really, really good. So I'm super happy with this combination. I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous when they fill in for sure. I have Dusty Miller growing behind all of those, and I really feel as if that pop of white behind the bright color of the Supertunia Jazzberry and the purple verbena that I have there, that white, that it just makes it pop even more. I really, really love this combination. And I truly actually love, I know you guys can probably see the daffodil leaves that are coming up behind. I had a row of daffodils all the way back here. completely behind, and some of them are intermixed with the Dusty Millers over there. And they're pretty much done blooming. Here is the last one, y'all. The last daffodil of the season for me. It's this pretty white one, double petals. Oh, so pretty. And they were beautiful, but I truly actually like the foliage as well. And so I'm gonna wait until that all turns brown, and then, you know, I'll cut that foliage off. But of course, if you grow daffodils, you know that you're not supposed to cut these back when they have the green leaves like this and they're done blooming. You're supposed to let them just absorb all of the sun that they possibly can, and then they will put that energy back into the bulb for next year, for blooming next year. But I really love the combination. So the Supertunias in the front, the Dusty Miller behind them, and then the daffodils right behind them. Really, really pretty. I love it. Let's go back over here so I can show you what's behind there. So I have just all kinds of things now behind here. It used to be very like structured. I had, you know, the front border, and then usually my front border was all the way over here, and then I had my May Night Salvia, a line of that, and it was kind of empty here, but I'm filling it in and trying to make it more like a cottage garden in the back, at least. So there's like a hodgepodge of all kinds of things back here. So first off, we'll start with the lemon ball sedum, and I am just now noticing that they are flowering. Lemon ball sedum, their flowers are not like the most showy ever, but it does mean it's happy. Oh, look at this one. Oh, how fun is that? Just this beautiful pop of yellow. And this lemon ball sedum, for me, I am in zone 8A/8B. We're kind of on the border there. For me, this was completely evergreen. It was this color in the winter time. It wasn't like upright like this, you know what I mean? This is a lot of new growth, and now it's blooming. It was more like low growing to the ground during the winter, kind of like, oh, let's just get through this. But now it's really springing to life, and it's just absolutely beautiful. I've taken some parts that have rooted, some stems that have rooted, and I'm gonna spread this all down here as well. So I love that. It's a great ground cover if you're looking for a good, strong, hardy ground cover in Texas. In North Texas, it does really well. I have tulips. So if you have watched my March garden tour, pretty sure it was the March garden tour, maybe February as well, my tulips were at their best. They were so beautiful. They were a mix of pinks and purples, and they have since died off for sure. But I told you I'm going to try to save these and harvest them and save them for next year. So I'm letting them just absorb as much sunlight as possible until they die, and then I will pull them up and store them. So you'll see they're almost, interestingly enough, the foliage is kind of turning like pink. And the foliage was pink when it was first coming out of the ground. So I think that's so interesting. Okay, so back here we've got a Pinks Dianthus, which is a perennial here. It has this icy blue green foliage that is absolutely beautiful. I haven't gotten a lot of flowers from it, but it is pretty new. I got it on clearance last fall, and so it's only been planted since last fall, and I've transplanted it as well from a different place. And coming right over here is my May Night Salvia. I did have 6 May Night Salvia all in a line back here. I decided to transplant them into just different locations in the front border to pull them forward because they just weren't quite tall enough. But here's one, and it is in bloom. I absolutely love the purple color of it. Just super, super pretty. And it will put on a really big show here now in the, what do you call this, maybe mid-spring by now. It'll put on a really good show, and then it'll sporadically bloom after that pretty well. Actually, I will cut it back after its first big bloom, and that's why I think I get a pretty good show of blooms after that too. But this one's a little bit further behind, but man, tons of buds there, so that's super fun. And right over here, I have what's left over of my spring plants. So these were just annual dianthus from Walmart. I'm gonna leave these in the ground because I do believe they will be perennial here. And then that one is the same as well. That was just a beautiful pink pansy from Walmart. I have a white dianthus right there, and then beautiful purple matrix pansies that used to be in my front border that I just transplanted back here because I have this welcome sign, and so I just think it looks really pretty, that welcome sign with all of the pretty mix of plants, spring plants that are underneath it. And then the sunshine ligustrum is the hedge that I have in the back there, and it's doing pretty well. We have noticed some winter damage that is slow to recover. If you can see, like right here, a lot of the sunshine ligustrum had a little bit of winter damage when we had some like zone 7 polar vortex temperatures and the sunshine ligustrum, it kind of had a hard time with that. Mine are really well established and seem to do well, but then I did notice like this part. So I may just kind of cut that back and it'll grow right back. I think you are seeing a vine that is intermixing in that sunshine ligustrum. Oh, it is the bane of my existence. This vine is so pretty next to impossible to get rid of. I just have to keep pulling it. That's the only thing that I can do, and it's still like it's got roots underneath this garden that will just never go away, I feel like. But that's okay. It's okay. One of the main reasons that I wanted to film now is I have shown you, it was just this little plant, I have shown you this Sweet Williams double pink, I think it's called, from Botanical Interest, this plant that I have grown from seed since last year, and I've never seen it bloom, and it is finally blooming for me. Look at this, and it's not quite not done for sure, but it's this really tall plant that, you know, like this is the annual dianthus that I get from Walmart, the white and the pink right there. And that's what I expect from dianthus. But this, from Botanical Interest, this double pinks Sweet William, or Pinks Mix, or whatever it is called, it's so pretty. Look at this. It's almost like phlox to me. Like, it's really tall, and it has this big flower head, and they're very sturdy stalks. Like, wow. It's so beautiful, and I have 3 of them in my backyard as well, and it's so neat growing this from seed and then finally seeing it bloom. And I have some more that are starting from seed this year. I hear that they're biennial, so after they flower, they will die, is what I am told. They will only last 2 years. The first year they grow, the next year they bloom, and then they die. We'll see. Maybe it's wrong, and maybe I'll get a few years out of them. But I'm growing more just to be sure, so that this year they'll be their growing year, and next year they'll be flowering as well, because they're just absolutely beautiful, aren't they? Look at that. It's so beautiful. Okay, so moving on to what's kind of back here. Well, okay, right next to the dianthus, I have a daylily, and it is a coral color. It's absolutely beautiful. I have another May night salvia right there. It's all budded up and ready to go. I've got daffodils all over it. And coming back here, this is a salvia greggi. And these types of salvia, there's lots of different colors of salvia greggi. This is like a hot pink color, really, really cool. And there's tons of blooms on it. Tons of blooms getting ready. So it's just getting ready to give a really good show. Salvia greggi is extremely heat tolerant, drought tolerant, the plant for North Texas. Salvia greggi, if you like it, pick it up. It's fantastic, and they have lots of different types of colors too. And then over here is a different type of salvia. If you can see it right there, it's smaller, but it's still got these like firecracker little petals there. They're red, and it is actually, I think it's called firecracker red. Hold on, let's go. No, hot trumpets or something. Let's go over here and look. Hold on just a moment. I'll get on the other side because I have the tag. Oh, look, hold on. Oh, Nope, we missed it. We had a lizard, y'all. Okay, so this is Salvia Hot Trumpets is what that one is. And it's getting ready to bloom, or in bloom right now. Okay, so one more look at that beautiful dianthus that I've never seen anything quite like it before, truly. I love it so much. Oh, right down here, let's see if I can show you. Right there is a Rudbeckia seedling that I found growing in here. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That's one of two. I planted another one. We'll see if it's still alive when we get over there. But let's go ahead and get in to the garden. Here we go. Okay. Right here, I have a daylily, and the tag totally broke. Let me see if I see part of the daylily tag in there right now. Hold on. Let me see. Look at that. Okay, that's all that's left. Something ocalis. It's a really pretty daylily. That's all I can say. I think it's a red with yellow in the middle. That's what I think it is. I have another Salvia Greggi there. And then I have another Salvia Hot Trumpet, if you can see it, right there. Right there. Okay. And then, yes, the other Rudbeckia seedling is still there. Let me show you. I have it over here. It's actually doing pretty well. I did not grow that from seed. That is reseeded from a Rudbeckia that I had in my front garden last year, and it died at the end of summer. Like all of my Rudbeckia do. I feel like I'm the only one that cannot grow Rudbeckia. They die for me 2 years in a row. Every single one of them, like multiple, like 6 of them have died each year for me at the end. And I think it's powdery mildew. I really am not sure, but oh well. Okay, so here is another Maynite salvia, and it's budding up and also intermixing with some ground cover that I have, which is variegated Vinca major. I have another Maynite salvia there, and I'm gonna come to the front. Well, no, now that we're in the garden, I'll just show you what I have here. This lovely plant that I love so much is balloon flower that I planted from seed last year, and it's the only one that survived. And it's just, I transplanted it from a planter, and it's doing really, really well. It's like, gosh, it's almost as tall as this bird bath, and I think the bird bath is 3 feet tall. So it's really big this year, second year, and it's doing great. There's the back of my last daffodil, and then this is a perennial. Well, no, this is one of the annual dianthus that I had bought, I think. Could be a different one. I picked up a dianthus last fall that was perennial for our area, so that might be what that is. But anyway, that's what that is. Now we're gonna come to the front of the garden so I can show you the left side of the garden. So here is a completely different microclimate, okay? I have a Vitex tree right here. I think it's its 4th year. We planted it as a little itty bitty baby that was like that tall when we first planted it. And now it is as tall as our roof line easily. So what is that? Probably 12 feet. And even taller, actually. So it's quite an amazing plant. Vitex, I feel like you either love it or you hate it in Texas. And they can be very vigorous, but they have these amazing purple blooms. These are the leftover blooms. They're not purple anymore, obviously. They're the leftover blooms from last year, but it is absolutely beautiful when it is in bloom. And I've even heard some people say that they don't like the leaves when the leaves come out, like the shape. They don't like the tree at all. I don't know what they're talking about because I absolutely love Vitex. I love the shape of the trees. It is a pollinator attractor. Bees are all over it. Butterflies are all over it. Monarchs. It just attracts every pollinator possible when it is blooming, and I really, really love it. But because I have that tree there, it creates a shade environment for the left side of my garden. So I get to grow things that would rather prefer the shade. So I have my Lambo. This is Lambo the garden sheep right here. I have a ground cover that is called variegated Vinca major, and I still have not yet to see any of it bloom. I was hoping that it would give me some blooms this year, but it looks like it's just giving me foliage. And it is definitely a vigorous ground cover, y'all. So do be careful. I am a little bit afraid that this ground cover is going to take over like almost the whole garden if I'm not careful. So I am going to try to pick it out of the areas that I don't want it to be in. But I really wanted something that was going to cover the ground in this shady area, and it's doing a spectacular job of that. And it's spreading and it's doing what I wanted it to do. So I cannot complain about this plant at all. It was just planted last year, so it's doing great. What you see right here, this is the problem with the Vitex tree, and this is a testament to how vigorous it is. This is like, it's trying to pop up everywhere. And so I don't want these. I want it to have this tree form shape. And so it's going to try to give me growth all along the trunk. And I'm going to have to be pretty diligent right now at this time of the growing season to pull those out so that I don't have this growth on the bottom. I want it to be a tree form, not a bush. And Vitex likes to be a bush. It just does. It likes to be very vigorous. It likes to be everywhere that it can possibly be to get as much energy as it possibly can get. It's a strong plant, y'all. Let me tell you. And it really holds up to the Texas heat. And once it's established, it holds up to drought really well, too. So it's just great. But here is something that I am so excited about. It is Burgundy Glow Ajuga. I have been a fan of Ajuga for a really long time, but never planted it until last year. And I love variegated foliage as well. So when I found this Burgundy Glow Ajuga that, I hope you can see that the leaves are partially like maroon and pink and green and cream. Oh my goodness. It's so beautiful. And last year it did not bloom for me, but this year it is blooming and it is absolutely beautiful. This started off as one plant for $8.50. I think it was in maybe it was in a 3-quart container. And so what I did is I split it into 3. And this is the first piece, which is tripled in size. This is the second piece. And then this is the third piece. The second and the third piece have grown together. And again, they have tripled in size in probably 1 year's time, because it was probably exactly a year ago that I planted these. I also had a hosta right here, which is kind of why there was more space between the first and the second, because there was a hosta there, and it did not survive. It is not coming back, but that is okay. The Burgundy Glow Ajuga, that will fill in, and I'm kind of hoping it fills in this whole front part of it. It'll be intermixing with this variegated Vinca in no time, I'm sure. And it's just beautiful. I mean, when you have a lot of us gardeners, we have to realize that our gardens are full of different microclimates. And so I have full sun plants over here, but they are not going to do well if they are planted over here. It's going to be in the shade. Unless you find a plant that is going to bloom for you in sun and shade, which there are a few, by the way, but unless you plant those, it's going to be different from this side to another, especially if you have a tree on one side. So it's super fun. It lets me grow some part shade and shade things under the Vitex tree. And one of the things I get to grow that is thriving is this endless summer hydrangea. It is so tall. It is probably 4 feet tall at its peak. It has been in the ground for probably 4 years. I do believe it's about 4 years old. It was from Walmart, an impulse buy because it was on sale, and I plopped it in the ground, and lo and behold, it's actually bigger than the other hydrangea that I've had for 11 years in a pot. And that's expected. Like, if they like where they are and they're in the ground, they're going to do better than they would in a pot for sure. But I'm already getting some buds on this thing. So exciting. It's a little bit behind the one that is in a pot on my porch. I'm about to show it to you. I call it Big Daddy, but I am getting buds. And this one usually is pink. They are pink flowers. So this is, I believe, oh, there's a bud down there. Yeah, that one's going to be big. This endless summer hydrangea, I think you call it color specific, I think. Or is it color specific if it doesn't change color? Anyway, this will change color depending on the acidity of the soil. So if the soil is more basic, then it's going to be pink bloom. If the soil is more acidic, it is going to be blue blooms. And so you can put soil acidifier down and hope for blue blooms. It is harder when they're in the ground because that soil acidifier kind of just gets wiped out pretty fast when it's planted in the ground. Oh, there's another big bloom. Hang on. But I have managed to get this guy to be at least half pink, half blue last year. I have not put soil acidifier down yet, but I'm about to. And I'm going to hope that these blooms turn out bluish. I do prefer that color, but if it's pink, it's all good. I love it just the same. And last year, the front of this plant, the blooms on the front of this plant right here were half pink, half blue, and that was really, really cool too. And then in the back, they were pink. So crazy. But yeah, and then I've still got that variegated Vinca Major, and it's just going to town. You can see, this is what I'm talking about. This is very vigorous, and I probably want to just cut these back so that they don't root into my grass. I do not want them rooting into my grass. Keep them in the flower bed. Okay, so yeah, I just did that, and I'm probably gonna have to do that every so often. You just have to watch variegated Vinca Major so that it doesn't go into the places you don't want it to go. But it's also creeping down over there underneath the sunshine ligustrum, which is fine by me. And I still really, really love it. So let me give you the full shots of the front garden. I have more to show you though. But that sunshine ligustrum in the background with, you know, cottage garden type salvias everywhere, dianthus, balloon flower, dusty miller, super tunias, super benas, well, verbenas, ajuga, ground cover, hydrangeas, like I've got it all going on. And I just can't wait to see what this will turn out like as the season progresses. But I have more to show you, so hang tight. Okay, so here is our walkway up to our door. And so I just wanted to show you these pots. I kind of talked about this one a little bit. This is in the shade, so I've got some impatiens going on there. And then I've got some morning glory and some black-eyed Susan vine. I have English ivy in this one, which was evergreen for me in the winter. Beautiful, beautiful plant. I really love it, especially here. It thrives right here because it gets morning sun and a little bit of afternoon sun, but not very much. And the rest of the day, it is in the shade, and it really, really likes that spot. And here is my baby, my Big Daddy. I treasure, you know, you have these like heirloom treasure plants sometimes that you just really, really love. And that's what this is for me. This was really my first plant that I actually was able to keep alive and love and flower every single year for me. And this is kind of what got me into loving gardening and plants. And it's the endless summer hydrangea that I've had for 11 or 12 years now. I got it for Mother's Day. My husband picked that up, and it has just thrived in this spot. So here in North Texas, a lot of gardeners, well-known gardeners, say that it's just too hard to grow hydrangeas here. And I don't think it's true. I believe that if you give them the right conditions, they're going to be fine for you and even thrive. Like this one, in my opinion, is thriving. It gets morning sun only. It gets maybe 2 hours of morning sun. The rest of the day, it is in the shade. It is up against my my house and in a pot. And I can control the soil conditions. I can control the acidity of the soil, I can fertilize it and add compost and do the things that I need to do to keep it healthy. And it's thrived for me, and it's got so many blooms, I can't even count them. I stopped at 30 and it's already, you can see that it's starting to bud out, or the petals are coming out, and they're coming out purple. It's always fun to see what color the petals are going to come out each year. So I'm like, is it going to be pink? Is it going to be blue? What is it? And I got them to be all blue last year, at least to start the season. So I'm going to, because they're looking like they're purple, I'm going to add a little bit of soil acidifier again, because I do want them to be blue if possible. And again, here's another bloom that's kind of coming out, and that tip is purple. So yeah, I'm going to add some soil acidifier and see if these guys will turn blue for me again. If not, I'll love anything, but I just absolutely love this plant. This is another hydrangea macrophylla, but it is a lace cap hydrangea, and not just a lace cap hydrangea, but it is a variegated lace cap hydrangea. And I bought it. This is its second full season with me. Last season, it did not bloom. And this year, I was really hoping that it would bloom for me. And I don't see any blooms coming on it yet. I'm really kind of disappointed. This is a plant that is only going to bloom on old wood. So this is old wood right here, and I have leaves, coming off of that. So I would hope that I would see blooms coming from the portions that are coming from the old. So let me get into this plant and we can kind of investigate. So this is a stem. This stem right here is coming from the base of the plant. This is not going to bloom. I would never expect this to bloom for me. However, like this one is budding out. The leaves that are coming off of existing old wood, and there's not a lot of them, I'll be honest. Hang on. Let's get down to the nitty gritty here. Okay, so for instance, this guy right here is coming from here. And so I would hope that this would bloom for me, but I don't see any blooms for me. Oh, this one too. This one is coming from that guy as well, and I don't see any blooms that are forming yet. Maybe it blooms later in the season. I've never had a lace cap hydrangea before, so I really don't know. Like this guy's coming from old wood right here. So you just have to kind of look. You have to determine if it's coming from old wood or not, and see. But I do have a lot of foliage that's coming from old wood, like this one right here too. And I'm just really, really hoping that they're going to give me blooms. But if not, I mean, goodness, this is a gorgeous plant just for the foliage alone. It's absolutely spectacular. This leaf in particular, it's just so many different colors of green and cream. And I couldn't ask anything more from a plant, even through just its foliage. So it is beautiful, but I'm really crossing my fingers, praying for a bloom on this plant, because they're lace cap. They're beautiful. And so I'm really hoping for that. It's okay. Coming over here, I have these pots that are by my door, and I love them. So this is super fun. This is a double up pink begonia from Proven Winners that I overwintered in my house and split up I split up 2 plants into 5 and overwintered them. And this one is not really blooming for me. That's okay. We'll see. It is pretty deep shade back here. And then I have sweet potato vine, purple sweet potato vine here. I love the contrast in that black urn. It's just beautiful. And I overwintered those sweet potato vines as well. And coming over here is my other black urn. And I've got a few things going on here. So I have another not surefire. I have another double up pink begonia. And again, this one's not blooming for me. So we'll see. But I did put some pink impatiens here, which add a beautiful pop of color. And then I have a tricolor pink sweet potato vine that again is overwintered. And look at it. It's so pretty. It really likes this spot, to be honest. The only reason that you see some of these leaves are brown is because it's not on irrigation and I probably don't water it quite enough. Ooh, that actually came out. So that needs to go back in. But yeah, but it's really actually doing pretty well. It's giving me nice pink foliage. And then coming over here is I have a Gerbera daisy that was given to me by one of my little daycare girls. She's so sweet. But this is a pretty old bloom, but here I have a new bloom coming too. And the plant itself has really grown since I planted it here. So this is like a part shade location, and it's really kind of loving life there. As well as these pink impatiens are doing really, really good there too. So I love my containers on my front porch. Okay, here's one more porch container that I wanted to show y'all because it is just beautiful. It is, again, English ivy that I've had for a year now. I put in a plant stand in here to kind of be a trellis for it to climb, which I think is really pretty. I could kind of fit a pot in there too if I wanted to, but I have dianthus in here as well, which is doing really, really good. It's just annual dianthus from Walmart. And then I didn't want to forget my boxwoods that are planted along this little tiny edge on the corner of our porch. And they are doing really, really well. I have noticed some spider mite activity. I'm going to have to try and stay on top of Captain Jack's dead bug and things and spray these guys down every once in a while to get rid of all of the spider mites that I seem to be having in these boxwoods. But so far, they are doing really, really good. And what you're seeing in between, those were hyacinths that I picked up, the bulbs from Walmart when they were on clearance. And the hyacinths they're not blooming anymore. But again, I'm letting the foliage absorb all of the energy they can to put back into the bulb so that hopefully they can bloom next year. So one last thing for me to show y'all, because I love them, are these two containers that I have planted at the curbside. So hold on, let me show you these fantastic plantings. Okay, so here are my curbside planters. I recently posted the video. I probably planted these only a week ago. And if you want to see the video of me planting these guys up, then I'll put that link in the upper right-hand corner for you. But I absolutely love the mix that I have chosen for these containers. I think they will do really, really well. So first off, I've got Supertunia Bubblegum right here in the front and center. That is the plant that if it's going to thrive, it's going to thrive. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to fill out, it's going to spill over this container, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. So the plant that I have right next to Supertunia Bubblegum is Supertunia Lovey-Dovey, and it's just taking off. I have to say, this is so fun because there's 4 different Supertunias planted here, along with Mystic Splire's Blue Salvia, which I know is going to do fantastic. But it's going to be so fun to compare the different Supertunias and their growth habits and just how like vigorous they are. And Supertunias, here's the thing. Okay, so for regular petunias, if you're picking those up in the stores now, petunias have to be deadheaded, right? But here's the thing about Supertunias. They do not have to be deadheaded, and their new growth kind of goes just on top of their old bloom. So you don't have to worry if you can't get out here and deadhead them. I just think they look cleaner if you do. So I can't help, like when I'm sitting here filming, to just pick off the old blooms. I can't help it. But look at these petals. They are just absolutely beautiful. I love the white and the purplish pinkish. And then way down inside there is purple, actually, deep down inside that little tube. So I just love Supertunia Lovey-Dovey. Oh, look at this. It's already growing into the Mystic Spire's Blue Salvia. Do you see that? Oh my goodness. I have to say, so this is my observation so far. The Supertunia Lovey-Dovey is the most vigorous one that I have so far, even out of the bubblegum. But that's not entirely fair because I got Supertunia Bubblegum at Home Depot at a later time, and it was not even yet in bloom really when I got it. And so this guy is just from a different plant nursery. It's further behind than this Supertunia lovey-dovey is. I got this lovey-dovey at Green Acres. So it's different stores, different plant nurseries, you know, so they're going to be in different seasons. But so far, the Supertunia lovey-dovey is the most vigorous out of the Supertunias that I had planted here. Over here is Supertunia Royal Magenta. Absolutely striking color. It is fluorescent, really. It's just so beautiful. And this one is less of a mounding habit, more of a trailing habit for sure. It's, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for it to kind of spill over. I absolutely love the color. And so we'll see how this one does. And then over here is the Supertunia Priscilla. Again, I found Supertunia Priscilla, Supertunia Royal Magenta, and Supertunia Lovey-Dovey at Green Acres. Green Acres is where I found the biggest selection of Proven Winners plants in my area so far. I am hearing about, I think it's Homegrown in Farmersville, has a very, very good selection, but that is an hour and a half away from me, y'all. That's just where I draw the line. Green Acres is about 50 minutes to 60 minutes away driving distance, and so I'm kind of okay with that, but anything further than that, it's just too far. I'm sorry, it just is. I am tempted to go to Homegrown, trust me, but it's just too far for right now. But Supertunia Priscilla, it's so beautiful, and actually it's doing well since I planted it. I was a little bit concerned that this wasn't going to keep up, that, you know, it was so compact in the can that I don't know how it's going to do. But this one is, I mean, I've got like 8 buds here that are going, and it's growing actually further back into the Mystic Spires. So it's doing really well. This Mystic Spires blue salvia is perennial for my area for North Texas, zone 8. And it's the first time I've grown it, but I am so pleased with it. I love the color of the leaves. I love the buds. It's growing really, really strong, and just absolutely love this combination. I have the same exact combination going on over here. I just feel like this container is a little bit further along for whatever reason. Look at this. That is what these are going to look like when they are all starting to bud out. And this isn't even done, really. Let's see if I can get it to focus. There's a great focus. Woo! It's a really, really deep purple, almost bluish purple. So pretty. Such a great contrast with the pinks, all of the different color pinks and purples that I have going on in the Supertunias. So I think it's just a great combination, a great impact for being a curbside planter. And again, so we've got the Supertunia Bubblegum, the Supertunia Lovey-Dovey, the Supertunia Royal Magenta back there, and the Supertunia Priscilla. Let's see how this Priscilla is doing. Yeah, it's still doing really, really well. I've got lots of buds coming. And oh, look, it's growing way back into the Mystic Spires too. So it just might keep up in the vigor. This Royal Magenta seems to be doing a little bit better than the other Royal Magenta, though. It's just interesting. These planters kind of have the same conditions, full sun for the most part, except this one gets, you know, a little bit more sun coming up in the morning, and this one gets more sun going down in the afternoon. So that's the only difference. Just interesting, but yes, so those are my curbside planters. Super, super excited about those. Here is the last look at the front garden for the first part of April 1st. I'm just absolutely loving it. I'm so, so excited again to see this grow throughout the season. And I thank you all so much for joining me and going throughout my garden and enjoying my garden with me. I just love y'all so much. I thank y'all so much for watching. And please hit that subscribe button. It is free. And what that does is it just notifies you when I get new videos out, and I will be posting lots more to come. So thank you all so much. Love y'all. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.